One of the things that we have at Scotiabank, and I don't know what other companies do, but we have a lot of employee resource groups, women in leadership, Scotiabank Young Professionals. We have also, ones to do with the diversity, other aspects of diversity, and so on. So with various employee resource groups. Quite often, if they get involved in those, first of all, they build a network, and I think that's very key. Is that they, within the bank itself, building your own personal networks within the organization. Plus, these employee resource groups also help the individuals develop because they do a variety of things, anything from community activities. To guest speakers.
So to help ease the transition of our international workers into the workplace, specifically some students we've had from China who've been Mandarin speaking when we've been trying to increase our Mandarin speaking capacity at the companies for our guests. We've actually translated some of the materials, the training materials for our staff, and we also in recent years have hired a senior trainer on the Murphy side, so that these staff actually have a trainer who speaks their language as well, and they of course speak English too, but the capacity that we need to add for the many Mandarin speaking guests that we have is a Mandarin speaking tour. So we kind of have one of the senior students work as a bit of a translator with the new students, and it's worked out really well for us.
So taking the time in the first week, the first 2 weeks, to really make sure that they're settling in okay, that they understand how your workplace works. If you do team meetings, are they mandatory? Are they optional? What's the structure of the team meeting? What's the expectation of participation? If you do team socials, are you making that open so that everybody feels comfortable? Recognizing that not everybody will want to go to a bar to do a team social. So little things like that, they go a really long way in terms of making someone who's not from our culture, but also actually anybody who's joining your organization for the first time period, feel comfortable, feel part of the team, feel welcomed. So really normalizing and demystifying and not making assumptions. The other thing that I think is critical is feeling that it's okay to ask questions. Remember that it's a learning process, not just for the student or the young professional coming to your organization, but for you as well. It's an opportunity for you to learn about a different culture that maybe you're not familiar with, or maybe you've been there before but you've only seen a certain part of the country. Like, there are nuances to all of our cultures and all of our backgrounds that it's really hard to understand that until you talk with somebody who's lived and breathed it for years. So being okay to ask questions and making it okay. So saying to that person joining your organization, you know what, I'm really not familiar with how your processes would have been back home. Here's how we do things in our organization. What have you done before? How has this looked for you in the past? What do you think about how we're going to do things? Do you have any questions? And really making sure that you've created this open communication will go a long way to setting you up to succeed, and not waiting to do it until probation period's up. You start that mindset from day one of having open, constant communication and a willingness and an openness to saying, look, we're both going to learn together in this. That will go a tremendous way to actually retaining not just young talent, but anybody in your organization. It's not about getting them in the door. It's about once they're in, how then do you keep them?